fault.
Thank you very much.
Okay, hold on. Thank you very much. Wait, let me make sure. See, I need that for a second. I got to make sure the setting is correct.
Lay it on us.
No, wait a minute. Don't do that.
Testing. 1, 2, 1. Is this thing on? Is this thing on?
Okay, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, please be aware that we're going to be annoying you in short order.
Go to a neutral corner. Check your gloves.
Woohoo!
This will be a 10-rounder. Light heavyweights.
What are the rules?
What are the rules?
No rules Down with rules.
We'll ask Robert and we'll ask Coyle. We'll get Robert's rules of order and Coyle's exceptions, whatever you like.
As Butch Cassidy said,
Now you let him read the call during announcement. I'm trying to do my business over here. Wait a minute, that's not my voice.
Trying to do your business over here. Teddy's already, he's fixing the bathroom. If you'll just wait a minute.
Okay. I like this man. Okay.
Take care of your business.
Take care of your business. Thank you, I will.
David, if your feature doesn't show up, are you going to play the sax for an hour?
If the who doesn't?
So he gets up there and just mumble. Muffle?
Yeah.
Muffle?
Either easy for you to say.
Muffle. All right.
So if the feature doesn't show up, I'll play for an hour. No, I won't. I'll do whatever you want.
We got Natalie over there.
Actually, I gave this to Rob.
I love that. You know, I think you got it here.
No, I gave it
Oh, you gave it.
to missed you.
Can I go?
Yeah, I'm waiting. Jesus H. Christ in a hamburger.
Sacred's checklist, Sacred's checklist. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Welcome to Sacred Grounds with Dan Brady. As the current host of this, the longest running open mic in the known and the unknown universe. Single word, serving up good food and fine poetry since 1972 and moving backwards. Please support this reading by holding up the ceiling and enjoying the food and drink served here. Let's have a big hand for Teddy and the invisible Fiona. Poetry of all kinds, ladies and gents, is welcome.
Here.
And we ask you to please, Dan, please me, please your fellow poets, please respect the mic. Keep conversations to a whisper. Put phones on mute, or vibrate. And don't distract the speaker, or pass in front of him or her.
Or disturb them, even if they are disturbed.
Also, keep to the time limit, usually 5 minutes, but that can change into a complete eternity, but not tonight. Remember, we have two shows, the 7-ish and the 8:30-ish. These are the Russian shows, the ish. For this reason, I ask for generosity.
Das vidanya.
Give me, sorry. Going short.
Going short, even if you don't have shorts.
With our tradition. Going short without your shorts helps with our tradition of getting everyone on the mic all at once.
All at once.
On the head of a pin. Okay, also, keep to the time. Oh, we read that. If you want to be in the proverbial loop, we have an email list and a Facebook group. We stream the video.
Stream it.
This is not the golden stream, but this is a stream video, and this is handy in 5 ways.
5, count them.
You can view him from home.
Not 4.
Family or friends can see you live and throw tomatoes at you. Or later on and throw dead fish at you. If you want to hear so-and-so, good, Sammy so-and-so, Eddie so-and, Jackie so-and-so.
The New York so-and-sos.
So-and-sos, the New York so-and-so's poem again. Why? You can.
Philadelphia, for crying out
You
loud.
can. Want to do a self-critique? You fool! If you really want to, and it is a way to put out the word, yours, mine, ours, minutes, seconds, eons.
Ons.
Remember the ongoing theme. Never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has, Margaret Mead.
Thank you.
No, all the rest of us have Margaret Mead too. At least in our hearts.
In
The
our
evening's theme is.
The evening's theme
The
is
evening's theme is
garlic.
garlic.
Garlic. And I have a poem with garlic in it, but you know, it was redolent, so I couldn't.
Also, next week's feature will be.
Wait a minute, next week's feature will be.
Wait a minute, next week's feature will be. Is there an echo in here or is it me?
Glenn Meisenheimer, all the way from Southeast Asia.
Weisenheimer?
Meisenheimer. He used to come.
Meisenheimer.
He used to be here years ago. Long
Oh,
story.
okay, Meisenheimer.
Meisenheimer.
What's his first name?
Not Weisenheimer.
What's his
He
first
doesn't
name?
like that. Glenn.
Glenn.
Oh, really? The Glenn who's been avoiding me for the last 6 years. Wow, it'll be good to see him
He's
again.
in Thailand for crying out
Oh,
loud.
well, that's why. No wonder I couldn't find it. Okay, now as for the first show, the keynote will be
The cursive writer.
Ricardo Sandorello, while our feature is
Jack Foley and Sanjay Lang. We're not here yet, but they will be.
Boy, who will give the Queen sway.
When they arrive.
Okay. As for the second show, the last word will be
Rob.
Steele, and Threatened. And the mini feature is
Britt Peter, the amazing,
Britt Peters.
wonderful, and marvelous, who covers the man in the red tie
and
very
we
well.
have step right up. We have fabulous door prizes.
Fabulous story.
1/10 of a dollar. 1/10 of a dollar. What do we got? What do we got?
We have right. Oh, sorry about that.
We have Fumble Fingers.
Fumble Fingers, Wright, a profile. This is by New Poems by Charles Wright with an interview and critical essay by David St. John.
Ooh.
It's pronounced St. John.
St. John, thank you. We have Billy
Is that
Collins,
West St. John or East St. John?
Nine Horses. Now, I've heard his poetry. It's really pretty cool. I like it. Now, if you've never read Hafiz, here's your book. This
Ooh,
is
I
the
want
book.
that one. I want that one.
I found out that I had 3 of these. Why do I have 3?
Can I have the
What
other
is
one
it
that you're
called?
not?
You didn't
I already
tell us
gave
what
that
it
one away
is.
weeks
Okay.
ago. Poetry Years, Clive James, Patricia Smith,
Hafiz, yes.
Sven Belkitz, and this is from April 2012, before the change. Look Homeward Angel by Thomas Burke. Women Who Love Too Much, When You Keep Wishing and Hoping He'll Change, and He Does It, what the jackass is he? This is about Mr. Kavanaugh. Wide Awake at 3 a.m. by choice or by chance. It's about sleep studies, sleep patterns, and by Richard Coleman.
We'll put you to sleep. Okay.
And then this is Through the Flower, My Struggle as a Woman Artist, Juji Chicago, introduction by Anais Nin. So a nice book there. And if you are a writer, you might want this. You might want this, because look at this. It has things in it that you can write on. You can wrap it up.
But it doesn't have a keyboard.
It doesn't have a keyboard.
It's supposed to write.
It is a universally accessible writing device. And then we have Donovan, if you remember Donovan, Pied Piper. So this is Donovan doing children's type songs. Just like that. And then of course
What about the Cads?
the cab,
The Cads.
the cad's here. Now if you don't know
Cads.
them float your boat, then you got your choose the theme or prompt, which is
theme.
garlic. Thank you, Tommy. Mini feature, which
Mini
tonight, of
feature.
course, is Britt over there. Britt, wave your hand over there. Britt, the mini feature. You can pick that. You can be the co-pilot, though, who would want to do
Co-pilot.
this. She's done it many times. She's experienced. She has the force field. Yeah.
I will share.
Keynote, which Mr. Cloyson right over there is going to do. And the last void, which is Rob over there. That's my worst accident I could ever possibly manage. Tommy's turning in his
Be advised, although we record the evening, if an audience member wishes to do so, please ask permission.
Ask.
We'll assume you've done so. Should we notice recording being made?
All right. Give him a round of applause for that sensational delivery. He always does this without a whim or a whisper. And now the cursive writer shall approach because he is delivering the keynote. The keynote always gives a poem, reads a poem by someone else. And then I always hand the keynote this because they tell me the name of the poem, so I don't always wind up writing The Charge of the Light Brigade by Charles Hawkey on the Deaf Aid. He didn't write Charles the Light Brigade. It was more like Charles Lawton, but one fat old Englishman is just like another.
Just make it up as you go along here.
Yeah, I know. Take it as they come. No matter.
Where am
Go ahead. You're on. We're good. We're
I?
happy.
Are we there yet?
No. We'll never be there.
I'm reading from The War in America by William Crossman. I guess read here a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago.
Months.
Times fly.
When you're having fun.
Okay, this is called The War in America. I didn't see the war in America when I was 4, dressed in my soldier suit posing for photos on my dad's shoulder at the Carolina base. My eyes drawn past the barracks at the black man in stripes and shackles, stumbling off the flatbed truck at the edge of the woods. Their clanking chains in the turpentine pines around us, laying a silence as black women boiling lye and fat for soap. Sets aside paddles. Black pitch gatherers rested machetes to watch. The prisoners this drill ground in bitter rhythm. This war my eyes were seeing I didn't see when I was 4. Watching skies for signs of invasion by foreign powers, confident that the war, if it came, would come from over there, overseas, from my father's shoulder. I smiled at the camera, thinking war almost over soon. We'd go home to Connecticut. The bombing. Your TV said there's an air war in my country, the Salvadorian said. An air war. That is when the government planes and our planes fight each other in the air. But we have no planes. No, it's the bombing they should be telling the North American people about. Daily the government's planes napalm us in our liberated zones, bomb us with phosphorus bombs, with 500-pound bombs. These turns to Chitotos into dust. Hundreds of civilians killed because we are winning on the ground. The bombing scares everyone who wants to die. You can look at it and look. He boxed off 2 equal spaces of the air with his hands. Here is life. Here is death.
A loose pen. Thank you. The cursive writer, and he's filling out that form just as a blank paper as we like to.
I'm forming it.
All right. That is the next thing. BG?
That's me.
Oh, all right.
I got one call.
All right.
It's Dave dash question mark independent dash question mark. And that's a word written in at the end. I'll read it, but it's written in. Maybe the part of that does not like choices day or night, when it begins, when it ends.
Thank you. Mr. Owen Dunkel. Then we have Alistair Cook, Crowley, and Morgan. The trio with the trombonists in the back there tuning up. We'll be getting responses from them directly.
Can everybody hear me?
Actually, no.
Come on,
At Starbucks. Days pass one by one. Time and space, more time and space. The wind whistles like a locomotive passing us by. Like the movie The Greatest Show on Earth. Stop, stop, don't you see the lights? I feel like an elephant trainer waving his arms for his would-be loved one, the girl on the flying trapeze. This poem is the greatest show on earth. Soon on Broadway it will be shoot time, shoot time. I am an impetuous madman shouting an eternal opera. Night poem. The dead of night beats its wings on the lonely Trieste. Night follows day. By day it is the lonely crowd. By night it is the lordly lonely wings of nightly delight. The starry day will soon become the black night as the metaphor calls my name in the distance. Soon the moon will arise to signify the end of June. Pensée. On a quiet day it is in North Beach, the day is as languid as a Jane Austen novel. The Café Trieste is a funny novel of manners. Lines written upon seeing a tattooed stripper perform. Nighttime at the Trieste. Paradise saws at the bones of necessity. The moon waxes and wanes like the color of green cheese, puzzlings at the paradise of virginity. A gray Saturday. A gray and windy Saturday passes on into the lonely, noisy quiet, into the cold night. Birds fly into the eclectic electric sunset. Pensée. Mark makes his mark as he dances in front of me. Grant Street grimaces as the night grows older. W.B. Yeats, this is lines by Yeats. Think where man's glory most begins and ends, and say my glory was, I had such friends. So cold the air. The day after the sun shines, so welcome after the mad stare of the bad rain, the roaring wind that came from somewhere around. December invited us to stay and say something. It said to February, my feet will not always be there to stay. Wily water squirts out of the lukewarm day that has tried its joy. Conversation is like a bubbling cauldron of ooze. Conversation in the little cafe is like a bubbling cauldron of ooze. Life is like this and not like that. I am confused, chances are, more confused than everyone else is. Sonnet 226:12. There is this day, this afternoon sun, the death of the imagination, no quiet all around me. Is the imagination the result of plenty of noise, more noise? The noise of the fire engines, sirens is painful to my ears as the sunburn is to my skin. Some people may like that sound, the noise. Maybe there is no fire at all, but some people are like the sound. Some people like to go naked in the snow. The rain, others gather to listen to the sound of sirens as though they were listening to the sweet sounds that do not cease. A symphony by Beethoven, a concerto by Mozart. vacuity. This day promises a trip to the morning, quiet as a closed door. Honesty makes the day longer, deceit is ripe in the verbal barrage of infamy and wonder. I wonder, as I often do at wonder, and I wonder what it is like to wander about the earth like a searching Daedalus. My mind enters afar, my body stays put as my legs are chained to a chair. My mind wanders long back to hot 29 Palms, to the hot desert, to the heat shimmering, almost creating a mirage. Old timers have seen some. Saloons, naked girls, water buffaloes swaying to the rhythm of the hot heat.
Thank you, Mr. Owen.
Thank you very much.
Who's the next? Oh, Buford? All right. You know what
Yes.
All right.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool.
See what this sounds like. We'll try. These, they're too short. I know.
You ready?
Oh, let me get this.
I was prosen.
Buford around.
Proceed.
Welcome him. Come on, Duke. I was busy. I was distracted from my own disasters.
It's called bus. On the bus ride from North Beach to Balboa High, people are mostly silent, sleepy. The newer bus rattles. The woman driving with the long braided African American hairdo rolls the quote cheap quote unquote machine with not very good shock absorbers down to Market Street and watches the pedestrians walking in front of the huge vehicle that she commandeers. We rattle not very smoothly along. This is called Day. Jay didn't chew on his hand after coming back from being out a couple of days. Rare for him. He's getting taller, but not much heavier. After his 15th birthday has rolled around recently. I do hand over hand, covering his smallish hand with my long, thin-fingered one. He is in the process of copying the teacher's note about the day's activities, about whatever's going on during the day. He writes almost exclusively in circles when I don't guide his rather bony hand. M screamed indiscriminately, but not constantly, thank God.
Thank you, Buford. Nate?
Yes.
Nate?
Yep.
Nate? Is Nate here?
Hey, I'm right here. Hey.
This is Nate, ladies and gentlemen. This is his first time here. So on one, we give him the business. 3, 2, 1. Nate!
All right. So if I actually said that I've been here before, didn't you guys like have to take back the?
We play the tape backwards and say, "Turn me on, dead man."
All right. Well, in that case, it's my first time here. I gotta get.
You want me to hold
Yes,
the dog?
if you could just
Yeah.
hang on to that.
Yeah.
All right, great. I'm all set.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm gonna play a couple of original songs for you guys. The first one is called Giants and Mountains, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get this thing tuned. Here we go, Giants Mountains. There are giants in the distance. There are mountains all around. But if you walk with me, all the mountains will fall down. All those giants will be nothing. Their powers fade away. At the sound of your voice, the mention of your name. Oh, see those mountains fall. Oh, see those giants fall. When it seems my chance of failure exceeds my chance of success, my confidence is shattered, and I can't endure the stress. Promises you've given will ease my troubled mind. Though my fears might follow me, I can leave the giants behind. Oh, see those mountains fall. Oh, see those giants fall. Oh, see those mountains fall. Oh, see those giants fall. Thank you. Alright, let's get this thing tuned up. Alright, this is a older song that I wrote. It's from the perspective of a bully. Drain my tears until I'm dry as a bone. Dying for love, but I'm better off alone. I don't mind the hate, it's all I've ever known. Nobody's friend, everyone's fear. My reflection in broken mirrors is all I see. Flex my arms and say I'll never ever be weak. It's a mask I wear, but it's all that I can be. Nobody's friend, everyone's fear. So when you hear my words ringing through your ears, hope they shake you to the soul. When I swing my fists and knock you to the floor, it's the only time I ever have control. Oh, Dad's been drinking, giving us a piece of his mind. Mom yells back, but soon she has to run and hide. power is mine. Nobody's friend, everyone's fear. Nobody's friend, but everyone's fear. But then you said that you would forgive me, and I cannot say a word.
Thank you so much. Dawn? Dawn? You're Dawn? Is it Astano?
First time?
Is it your first time? No. But you haven't been here in a while, because I remember you.
I've been here in a while.
Okay, all right, we'll just frame it in
slipping
that
up
way.
there.
Nice. Give a round of Dawn, please. Yes, a long-time visitor and friend.
Two poems. The first, In His Sauna. This is in memory of Anselm Hollo, a Finn who came to the United States and translated poetry for the American audience, and then got hooked on poetry and started writing his own and gained a little bit of a reputation and territory. Alcohol and drugs almost got his territory, but he died in January of 2013. In his sauna, on his forehead forms a drip of thought, a drip of feeling, a drip of insight, liquid assets of a poet, of a man. And then the following one is elected, you accept a clerk's position. And this is about Mikis Theodorakis, the Greek poet, the Greek musician, the Greek composer, the Greek politician. And he just had a heart attack about four weeks ago. And a week before that, Manos Leviertru died, so he used to be one of his poem writers. The thing about Mikis is that he composed songs to the finest poetry that was being written in Greek. So he had a couple of steps up. Elected, you accept a clerk's position. We thank you, Mikis Theodorakis. We thank you for picking up a weapon with which to fight four-footed fascists, for doing something which we could not or did not wish to do, for being captured, and by being captured also being tortured, not giving up the gold and silver information paid by your pain. We thank you for speaking out against government thugs who hit and beat you. Twist, twist here, thud, thud there. When you gave them neither diamond tears, nor the rust of platinum smiles, which would have paid for sticks, batons, and truncheons. They twisted yours and beat you more all over again. What you produced wasn't wasted on their cruelty. Those breakers of fingers and smashers of noses. After the mucus and urine of their game, you came back to relight awareness on the heads, on the heads of them, and all the more, uncovering for us the music of past ages and places, wrapped up in different faces. Sing, sing, singing that which we hymn for you here and in another now. Mikis, some called you traitor, and they said that they read the word tattooed on your skin. Because you stood up for the cause, it became yours to fight. You whispered to yourself, no civil war for Greece today or tomorrow. And you spit into your open political hands, you alone, so that they could glue the islands to the homeland, the mountains to the seashores, and the noisy cities to the more silent countryside. You outsang the pouts and cries, barbed with fear and hate. You fathered Greece out of World War hell, and while not overwhelmingly well, you gave us songs which we now know how to breathe, both stranger and Greek.
Mommy, abikula na ka.
I'm gonna go good.
Suddenly appear at the restaurant, their night out at the movies. Don't let them show their faces in public without fingers pointing, voices accusing. Put them on permanent display on America's most despicable. All of those who conceived the policy of separating families or gave the order to put children in cages, yanking them from their mothers, fathers, traumatized, then tranquilized them so that their parents don't know them anymore. Suddenly appear at the restaurant, their night out at the movies. Don't let them show their faces in public without fingers pointing, voices accusing. Put them on permanent display on America's most despicable. It wouldn't even come close to making their lives the hell they've made for those kids. To tonight's theme, which was my theme, this poem is called Aglio, which means garlic in Italian. The smell of garlic is tattooed in my nostrils, embedded in my skin, sauteed in my soul. On hot summer days, it greeted me as I raced up the steps to the front door, anxious to devour what my Italian mama had spent all day making. Some people said the smell of the bulb was repulsive, something to be avoided at all costs. The most obvious cost, my connection to who I am, the price of fitting in.
Yep.
And I'm going to end with something that I hope you'll find humorous. He'll never live it down. That poor little video game character with the mushroom head, who didn't ask to look like an emperor's tool. An emperor whose pants were yanked off by a porn star stroking a mighty pen. His crown jewels not so crowning. His sexual prowess anything but impressive. A smaller than average endowment should not be big news. Not subject to ridicule. Body shaming is his style, not ours. But having a moment to laugh at the testosterone overloaded orange bully with an oversized ego and an undersized pair of hands helps us deal with the never-ending horror show we can't turn off. What will stick in my mind forever is the nightmare of children in cages, methane gas pouring into the atmosphere, an administration's war on the press, 3,000 dead in Puerto Rico. A cartoon character is not chummy with Nazis and white supremacists. A dick is. Thank you.
And now we have the wonderfully composed Stephanie Manning, who is the co-feature of the monthly event of La Promenade, which she might give you a word on when she is
Word,
up there. Word, get word. It's a great series, it's a great place. I go there whenever I can. Not all the time. Doggone.
Yes, come to La Promenade. It's at 38th and Balboa, across from the Balboa Theater, the first Saturday of the month. But this October reading is canceled, thanks to the Hardly Strictly Bluegrass Festival nearby. The next one will be in November, the first Saturday in November, and the feature will be Marvin Heemstra.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so I'll try to read two poems. One, I'll read mine second. And I like to read from the Pink section. You always have such good poetry in the Chronicle. On the Pink section, they have a poetry column. And this, it's by David Broderick, and he picks these great poets. This one is by Gary Soto, who lives in Berkeley. And it's called Campesino. Spring, 73, I am 2 time zones from my country. And sorry, it's like feedback, I don't know. And hacking of the soldiers' straight weeds. I'm captain of their destruction, but the army of weeds keeps advancing day after day. I was a math teacher in Mexico, but now I'm a number squeezed into a white van. The stars blue as my life at 5:30 in the morning. But don't feel sorry, I have my hands and back, my face dark as a penny in a child's palm. I walk a straight row, my lean shadow keeps up, but look at the circling seagulls, landlocked with no home. If there's work, I hoe 9 hours in the beet fields, sometimes with a friend in the next row, sometimes alone. You would be crazy to open your mouth, the wind and dust. In a year, my face will be tooled like my wallet, dark and creased. Over the clods, I sing to myself or whistle like a parrot. I practice English. Waffle. No good tire. Nice to meet you. In the fields, I stop when the patron on the tractor path says stop. I pound sand from a boot like an hourglass. Time pours forever and ever. Tomorrow I'll start again. I'll chop at the earth, but it won't bleed under my hoe. I'll chop, sweat, and think in English. Toaster, thread, seagulls find a way home. And this is one by me called California Going Out. I just wrote this on the train coming home. California ablaze, California going out, California dream burning bright, can't afford it anymore. California going out, but maybe for some, not me, but for some, maybe. Love California, cherish the time spent here, cherish the people, the diverse people, the poets. How are we going to make it? Work 3 jobs, go for some high-tech sector job, live simple, eat nothing, buy nothing, live on the sidewalk, can be harsh on the body and mind. Is California going out? Is the sun going out? How could God give us Trump? There is no God, or something like that. I think California is going out, but it's not completely out yet. Embers still glow down there in the rent control rubble. We need to get the master firemen to stir the ashes, blow on the embers of the dream, and resuscitate the state. And for this reason, you should all click your heels together and say, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Maybe, just maybe, voters will vote to expand rent control in November. Yeah. Yes, I'm
Top 10, top 10.
Do them on.
Let's bring him on up.
Ah, shit, man. What's that? What you stepped in that shit, man? Ugh, it's nice, gushy shit, man. What the? I won't use this because. Oh, oh man. Come! Let us go to the graveyard in time! I told you, man, I'm scared. What you bring me out here for? Come, let's go to the graveyard. Open it! Dig him up! Dig him up! Hey, you still digging after what? 500 years, you still dig him up. Look, open it, look, there's no meat on their bone. Look, it's true to me. Look, they wink us when I come, run. Ah! Let's do them on time. Let's go back. And allow me to walk along the edge. All I want to do is walk along the edge of time. Just the edge of time. Just let me hang there, please. Look. Call and cry, man. A good cry is good for thee. In Montana, somebody says, how you make a U-turn? And I said, bring me a U and they make eyes roll. Yeah, we go way back, nine. What? Look what I see! Oh, I was happy the other day that shark bit his leg off. Alligator jogged along the river. The snapping turtles bit them in the nuts, you see. They took her breasts. And they said, what do anaconda do? We catch it and we feed them. Human babies. And they said, that's a terrible snake when you could take a snake and just cut it up and leave it there. Take the skin and leave it there. But when a snake, anaconda just eat once and they don't move. But come, they said, along the road, St. Anthony's fire, I went to see her in the 11th century. And when I got ready to go, they boarded the door and locked us in. They said, that's what we do with the St. Anthony fire. It's a virus you've seen. The bull rammed the king, and the goats butted him. And the little girls walking along the path was laughing, and the dogs ate him. And they said, why don't you eat hot dogs? There ain't no damn dog meat in them. And a sandwich is human meat cut very thin. But they says, why you talk that way for? Oh, 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 what the hell? Close it. Let's go to the gate. Let's go to the gate. Close it. Close the gate. Close the gate. Oh, 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 oh. Close the gate. Gateway to the graveyard of time.
David?
Dano. We ready?
Yes.
Over there?
We're almost there.
Almost there.
Right. David.
I'm waiting. I'm just waiting.
Okay. I just wanted to get your name out there.
No, that's not the
Humpty Trumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Trumpty had a great fall. All the Republicans, all white men, couldn't put Trumpty together again. Coming soon to an asylum near you.
All right.
If I exercise my alternate right to left freedom, I must ask you not to intone your vocal cords while listening to an ad man. Cultural attaches pop up like cookies made from shortening from unsafe way. Kellogg's sugar corn hits. Sugar hits cause fits. They give you the snits. ADD, you can't subtract multiplication and division, exchange dividends. Your pension has been used to bail out banks and automobiles. Not to worry, that will happen every 10 years. Has your back broken yet? Keep working. They've taken so much silver out of your quarters, they are now eighths. Fortunately, corporations are people. We've preserved freedom of screech, so a muffled Alex Jones is the new normal paranoid conspiracy. If you visit the Midwest, you'll find the brothers are all coked up. The Great Lakes are only fair, and Ohio is dissolving precinct by precinct. Every chicken is smoking pot. There's a box office in every home. Cursing and pornography are allowed as soon as your parents leave the room. Apparitions and someone else's dead relatives hide in every corner, giving you a new leash on life. Cubicle, cuticle, move into the sphere. Fallback position. October is a strange country. Shadows described by Ray Bradbury. Horseman whispers. Busker shouts. We rhyme and rhyme a chill's about. Illustrated man arrives, silent, headless, we're alive. To witness every fungal spore, ghosts and spooks we so adore, electric bodies twitch and shudder, rats that scamper in the gutter, invisible or wrapped in gauze, death espoused in some lost cause. Aloft we rise, an air balloon, clean tobacco from spittoon, apple doll whose face imploded, car bomb a dud stays unexploded. In the gully, horror stalks, juju beans and zombie walks. Emanation, Mr. Vapor, burglar cat intent on caper. We box Pandora about her ears. She looses ills and fans our fears. Decrepit, crippled, broken, slew. Skull reflects, 'tis me or you? Sleight of hand upon the set. The murderer who hedged his bets. Mask of evil melts, not yet. Till blood from Rose's thorn we get. Okay, I've read this 3 times, but it's one I like this a lot. So, not here, but one of the problems with alien intelligence, automatic integers, binary bisection is that it never sleeps. Oh, they placate us with sleep mode, airplane mode, vibrate only. But that is a deception. Siri and Alexa feed on the hum. Every truck driver knows that throb. It's the road talking, an invisible hook attached to your rear axle, calibrated at exactly 55 miles per hour, entranced at the entrance. It also gives 360-degree vision, a thin layer completely surrounding the truck, which makes you untouchable. A million fiberglass reflectors turning diamonds back into coal. You act like a tesseract. Turn your wheel inside through your torquemada. Put on your windmill blinker. Turn right at the next gopher hole. The mosquito drone is still following you just behind your left shoulder. Just behind it is an Anna's hummingbird. Without an antag, you are lost. Without opposition, you are out of position. Not ready to cease breathing? Not to worry. Siri and Alexa can put a permanent switch beneath the hair on the nape of your neck. Totally out of sight. No one will know. That way you can learn new languages in your sleep. Code. You're ready to travel to Manchuria as a candidate.
How's David Ehrreich, by the way? So Richard Sandra, the curse of lifer, is going next. I was going to go next, but chaos has struck deep into the organization of my fine mental state. And so we are in flux.
Oh, it's the shaker.
It's my time is up. I'm flummoxed.
Little white bird.
Move this forward a little. You want to move this just a
Yeah,
little?
yeah, yeah. So we
Yeah.
As they say, give
That's
birth.
good, that's good, that's good. Give it too far, he's gonna readjust.
I gotta readjust. I just want to get you all in the tank, in the know. There we go. So now move back.
Now exceed.
Move back. Thank David, you're good. Do them on. There you go. Just don't move around because I got you framed. I got you framed.
Now we good. We good.
No, but yeah. Told you.
Before I forget, I'm supposed to say something. What was it? I'm supposed to say, I'm featuring next week at the Cafe International for a half hour. I will have some music behind me. Oh, D. Allen and Just Dulé, if you know them, they're featuring next Monday. I think it's at 7 o'clock. Check the Bindery website. It's from the Bay Area Generations. 2 great poets. There'll be other great poets. $10 charge goes toward the book. You get a chat book. Oh,
Chat book.
all right, breathe. We lost paradise. We lost paradise a long time ago. Chain, beat, shred, expose, dredge, mine, scar, deforest, enslave, kill it for profit. Mother tries new life forms, but some two-legged demolished it all for all. Mother grows tired, aging, but still resilient. The sixth extinction is about to release. We lost paradise. It was here for a while for all, but some two-legged can take, but never give back in support of life. Humanity isn't coping well with this climate change. Some say it's complicated. Humans made this complication, can't seem to understand what we wrought. We run from our aloneness, making our world reflect ourselves, not the creation before us. We've obliterated the sky in towns, cities, choke ourselves on Mother's refuse called fuel. I hear Miles losing his mind as the world sets the self-destruct clock. Beat that music, let it out, containment is not possible. Yes, we shall be released. Walking, looking lost, don't know where we're headed. Nature devoid, we seem to be forever looking for something after someone told someone they should be dissatisfied with living in Elysian fields. All right, they walk on. They walk on their devices, lost in internet. Real world drops away, for them a better world. Some walk casually, others in fear, looking stressed, holding tightly to their purses' bags. More walk by carrying shopping bags filled with new plundered goods, developing shopping bag disease. Then there are those who walk by so manly, threatening, protecting who knows what, while others look and say, "Fuck you, what do I care? Got mine, step away." Next there are those who were there for the pickup. Lines have been drawn, see who bites. It used to be calves, but thighs is big these days. Men, women, everybody's thighs. Thighs are big this year. Women walk arms crossed as if to contemplate or just keeping it closed. Some looking hard, others soft approach, or have their joy in full bloom, while others, what? Look waning. Others working the pretty, wonder why you're looking, always ready for an easy refusal. Couples walk by of all persuasions as if anyone needed persuasion. I want to tell all to breathe deep in relaxation. I want to breathe, but air's choked with poison smoke as they walk on. Our world begins to burn. All right, this is called Shattered, but Still Standing. Shattered, still standing. Beaten, whipped, thrown down, dying, shore's edge taken out, with no musical score, metaphor. Still at core shattered, never flattered, held together. Space junk falls, streaks across the sky in multicolors of universes at the verge of nowhere. Well, not far, riots unleashed for crimes against the milk of human kindness. Shattered by guns, wars, missiles, held by the two-legged, our new tech brothers, sisters left standing, not yet in shatters. Upon appearances, all seems well as Mother's does, but is egg-shelled shattered. A fractured mother rotates as those who stand ruined on planet, a place of coming together apart. Most imprints, though life is unprintable. You see, that's where the music comes in. Attempts of getting back shattered into the rhythm melody, getting mind and body, healing, joyful, sad to tears, where words lie, truth told with cadences, syncopation of love, hate, made in mother's music. It's the timbale player who keeps the beat from shatter, fracture, flying out of time when needed, or until the center no longer holds. Meditating, drive, 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 hear it, it's coming, passing, leaving, as line, train, always trying to keep in time before chaos emerges. It's the lifeblood driven by heart, cortisone. Right, Keratin and glutamine.
Mark Joseph's not here, so I'm going to put the feature on there when Mark Joseph comes back. All right, so
Hello, Jack. Sungay, see, I got it. She told me. Okay. All right. Am I framed correctly there? Am I good? Am I bad? Am I indifferent?
Guilty as charged.
Thank you. Well, I just have to say, after a day of nice relaxation, I lost it all. It was thrown away before my very eyes. And if you could ever have it, you ever watch this is not you yet. I'm getting to you. You watch a juggler, and they start out juggling 2, and then they go to 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then 6, and then they try to do something, and of course they drop it. And when you drop 1, very often you drop several more. I am in the process of dropping balls before your very eyes. But unless I told you about that, you would say, yes, he looks very calm and collected. Well, slight change of plans. I usually read before the feature, but I left something in my home. Martin Joseph heroically went after it. I don't know if he'll find it and get it back here. However, he will return, and then we'll take care of Mr. Martin Joseph and myself, but that'll be after the feature. So.
Here he comes right now.
Really? Oh my God! We were just praising you to no end.
It's God.
keep the keys?
No.
It looks like that.
Wait, what is this?
Martin Joseph.
Oh, you brought the whole binder.
I didn't know what was what, so.
So, you know, if it's not here, then I'm just gonna hang it up and. No, I was about to do that, but see, like now we can, if I can find my thing, then I'll do me, then you do you, then we have our feature.
Okay.
So, because that way I can understand what it is I'm doing. And if it's not here, I'll just be, you know.
Make up something.
I can't. No. It's not that I don't have poems. I was going to do something else, but you know, when I get home, I'm going to find out where I put it, and then I'll just be ashamed of myself.
I hope I got whatever it was.
I don't think so, but it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
That's the important thing. It's not my fault.
Yeah. So let me just make sure, in case it is here, and I goofed myself up royally. I wonder where the hell I put it. All right, well, all right.
So, Mr. Martin Joseph, it's not there. I just have to do it by verbal inferences.
Well, then everyone should shut up so they can hear you.
Give this man a round of applause just for the general purposes of dropping everything,
Doing something for me wildly and crazily. And I'll take these here. Sorry. All right.
Okay, Jack. So chaos. That's what I was going through, the chaos. I think you walked in. All right, so, I'm going to be featuring on Saturday the 22nd at the Cesar Chavez branch of the Oakland Public Library between 3 and 5 p.m. with a number of other stellar individuals. And I had a flyer with all the information, but I will put it in the email, and if anybody wants to know more, they can get a hold of it. The flyer was beautiful. It was beautiful. It's probably still, it could be even over here, and I haven't found it. Anyway, so. The antidotes, and this is in 4 parts. The antidotes. Stones are not hearts. Have never been. Most probably won't take part in one for some long, long time. Patience is a virtue, they say, but with time scales such as this, well, there's something to say for the virtue of persistence, or, in the case of rocks, the kind of patience that does not have a name yet. On their way to that chapter, they become and change, break, wear, and round, diminish, of course, play roles. They nest, they shelter, they are built into things by hands, things they cannot even conceive of, even though they, just as all beings, are molded and reformed on their way over time to becoming part 2. Praise is easy, simpler than you might expect, and very easy on the heart. The mind enjoys it. There is morning, the sun, the shade of plants, water, food, smiles, and love, a gladness for that which you have. There is giving, just as there are needs, yours, mine, and ours, which bring us together as friends sometimes. There are seaside walks and a breath of refreshing sea wind off the bay, taking yours and mine away. 3. A single hand ready, awaiting yours. In sunlight, the heart dances, enjoys the warmth of one with another's, beating close by. 4. Our real work, when all else fails, when we do not seem to have any clear choice or can't make sense of our sense of direction, is to take that first step before the mind is encumbered, baffled by illusions which act to impede its stream of thought, for it would otherwise sing clearly and loudly enough with the heart and soul, removing all doubt about anything. So that's the antidotes. And now as a famed second grade teacher, I just finished working with a magical class. It was wonderful. Anyway, this is called the warning. Warning. You want me to read a story? Hmm? Do you? Well, I just might. But you should know I don't just read what's there. I will tell stories on a story. Give the word on a word, track its roots, take you way back. And we'll go off, I tell you, connecting to the story, each other, and more. You'll tell me all about it. I do things with stories, with you, inside your imagination. I get under your skin, tickle your fancy, get you to look at things differently. Trouble is, once you know how to do that, you never, ever stop.
Martin Joseph, and I'll introduce the feature, and I am done with my panic attack. Wait a minute, let me have one more minute of panic attack.
Darn it, that's the most fun part.
Good evening, Sacred Grounds.
Good evening, Martin Joseph.
This is called Searching for Haikus with Dan Brady on the 48 Quintara.
We actually did that.
How exciting! We're going to take the 48 Quintaro bus all the way from the beach to the bay, watching people on their ways to Saturday shopping or whatever it is that they do. It won't be the protest downtown because this bus doesn't go all that way. Dan and Martin, two young old men, sitting at the bus stop at 48th and Rivera, talking excitedly about what they are going to do. Dan wants haikus out of it. Of course he does. He's written 5,000 of them. We settle on a practice one. Glistening vomit, 2 World War II bomber jacket. It's not his to clean. Our practice done, we are ready for the bus. It was then that we looked up at the sign that said, 48 Quintara Beach Route Extension, Monday through Friday only.
Oh, boy.
And here are the haikus. Now, a friend told me one time that haikus don't have titles, and all of mine do. So I said, just call it something else. Number 1, the black ship. We were out near the beach. The earth's curvature will hide the black ship's approach. Then a friend is gone. My wife heard that and she said, okay, I got one for you. The pink ship. Death is a pink ship. White sails, streamers, and ribbons bedazzled with joy.
That's nice.
So, we couldn't get on the 48 Quintaro from where we were, so we went to the El Taraval. Hence, the El Taraval. The El Taraval. 6 separate conversations. One of them in English. This one is called 18th and Taraval. Dan needs leg room. Full car share senior seating. Finally, a sunny day. Next one is called No Alan Harris.
That N-O or K-N-O?
Good figure it out.
Very good question. Where's Alan?
No Alan Harris. He had prior commitments. So we read his book. Noe Valley. The 48 Quintaro goes all the way across town. Noe Valley. So much happened here. Generational corkscrew. Noe Valley layers. Mission District. Work elsewhere. Live here. Salsa trumpets claim this ground. The party is now.
Yes.
At the end of the line, Dog Patch. Just for you, cafe. After 30 minutes wait, carnitas omelet. And finally, 48 Quintara. And I like this one because I only had to make up one word in the entire one. The rest were the San Francisco Muni. Doors are opening. Please hold on. Please hold on. This is the last stop.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Give yourself a round of applause. Give her a round of applause. Give that guy a round of applause. Pat yourself on the back. Stand up, sit down. Never mind. All right. So, my favorite part of the evening, and one of them, is when I get to heap praise upon an individual who can do naught but listen. So Jack Foley is an icon, almost. He's a landmark on the literary land. He's a central locus on the literary landscape of the Bay Area. He has which radio station again?
KPFA.
I was going to say that, but I'm afraid then I'd be wondering if I was going to say it right, but I'd say it wrong. KPFA, and poetry. Oh, sorry about that. Can you?
Sorry.
My time's up. So, the poetry is wide-ranging. The guy has a brain. He has brain power in there. You see some of the things that even someone like myself, who is very familiar with poetry, will go, I don't understand this. But when you look into it, the language is deep, the intellectual power is there, and there's a lot going on, even in something very, very short. A perspective that carries one to many places, even in some single pieces, you will travel. And that's one of my favorite side effects of poetry, when you read someone's poems and you travel through history, through time, space, and then you go to those memories and you go, don't want to go there. But it takes you there. He's a tour guide. Sungay Lang is someone who is new to me, but I heard some of her poetry on YouTube, and a wonderful, wonderful voice, heartfelt. If you know what the word heartfelt means, this is a person who has a heartfelt voice, a champion of perspectives, a lovely, lovely, lovely individual whose heart and mind sing, and you will hear her sing before your very eyes here. Both of them together are a powerful team. I'm so glad they're here. With some arrangements to get them here, and they had chaos tonight. An extra dose of chaos. Why not? But now we are at this phase of the evening, and I'm so glad to bring them both up here. Give them a really nice warm welcome.
If yours doesn't work, I've got a mic.
Okay, yeah, I can.
Okay.
Let me just frame you up here.
All right.
And then we're gonna.
You're gonna be framed.
Ja, genau. Ach, du lieber meine guten Abend. Huh?
All right. Can you get that up a little higher?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Try it now.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, just get a little closer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
there.
need to get close. Okay.
Cheek to
All right, thank you. We're really happy to be here on Yom Kippur, for heaven's sake. Atonement, at-one-ment, all of that stuff. We'll see about my guilt in these poems. The first one, and this is probably something I should feel guilty about, I turned an adjective into a noun. It's called the conflictory. You
Are a conflictory.
a sum that is no sum.
Contradictory.
Angles fallen.
Angels drafts that.
Lead nowhere.
Summations radical.
Departures, fantasies.
Clear-headed perceptions.
The real, the unreal.
The believe, the have.
Believe, the love, the
Feared conflictory.
open to the wind, the rain.
The budding of opinion.
Lust, failure, success, magniloquence.
Stuttering, inability to speak. Facing the vast, the microscopic.
Male, female, child, adult.
Feeling the pain of something that happened in 1966.
Aging, transcending.
Age, violent, peaceful.
A conflictory
In
bound.
a skin that fails.
As age comes on, a
Book that is full.
of nothing but Derrida, demand, and deconstruction. All in a package. You call you. This is called Latin Burning. Has some autobiography. I heard it, actually, Christian Pansic is older than I am even, and would probably appreciate all of this stuff. Christian, this is for you. Latin Burning. Latin is the lesson we were taught. Antiquity still living in a dead language. I grew up with it as the language of the church, made sense of it with the help of a little book, a missal, as the priest intoned. Later, I learned Caesar, Virgil, the long vowels rising up in the deep cadence of the line, Arma verumque cano.
The labor it was to found Rome, all that history embodied in sounds. Dido mad and loving, the soldier turning away from passion.
Carthago delenda est.
Rome founded Rome, the home of the Catholic Church.
The home of a history I had no part of, but which somehow defined me.
The arguments of theologians, the Church triumphant, heavenly city, earthly city.
Passion, triumph, perhaps the last gasp of spirit. Carthago delenda est.
How do we become most blessed?
How are we sanctified in this scramble?
Is renunciation the answer?
Forgive me, Father. Mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. My sins are unknown except to thee. My tears, my history of ill.
In the last hour, give me strength to let it all go.
To let me die like a language unspoken for centuries.
Like Latin, like the Rome of Virgil.
Like Carthage, like soon perhaps the Catholic Church.
In the vast ruin of historical circumstance.
And the whirl of time. When sleep comes.
Sleep comes.
If it comes.
Until.
When sleep comes.
Until.
Dream.
As we live our lives.
Or dreamless.
Day by day.
Gain new strength.
That follows us.
When sleep comes.
Abyss.
Set mind free.
Ocean of darkness.
If it comes.
Drift.
Drift.
Set mind free.
Ocean of darkness.
When sleep comes.
Abyss.
Gain new strength.
That follows us.
Or dreamless.
Day by day.
Dream.
As we live our lives.
When sleep comes.
Until.
If it comes.
Until.
When sleep comes.
Sleep comes. Burning. Nothing burns properly in the world.
No fire is tamed or ready to serve.
Burning is vanishing.
No song burns properly in the mind, in the memory.
Nothing in any fireplace but springs forth into the room as smoke or heat to cause damage.
No cigarette burns properly.
No pipe can be smoked so as to confer advantage.
Though hearts burn, none burn properly.
All cause pain, vanishing.
All danger lies here.
Even in the stove,
that cooks the broth,
the match,
that lights the dark.
The fever.
And this is burning.
Burning. Thank you. Many of you have seen the wonderful Jean Cocteau film, Le Sang d'un Poète, The Blood of a Poet. This poem of mine is called La Sangue d'un Poète. It's about her. La Sangue d'un Poète moves around the house like a vivid shadow, wearing red, wearing green, wearing blue, colors of light, as she moves, wearing a shine that catches me and speaks. A vivid, beautiful shadow, sends notes, smiles, comments, agrees, disagrees, tells me I'm handsome, that I look good in blue, oh flattery that I may believe, asks me to rub salve on her back to relieve the pain she sometimes feels as she moves, as she lives and listens, in my gaze and out of it, a shade more vivid than the furniture that watches her and beckons. I think of Paramasiva. When he opens his eyes, the world manifests. When he closes them, the world retracts to its latent state within him. He makes the impossible possible, as does she, as she moves, as she talks in this deep, wild house of Shiva. This next one, I asked Sangi to read it, so it's not her fault. She didn't write it to be read in public, but I asked her to do it because I thought it was a wonderful poem about a fictional person.
This was my very first poem, so bear with me. Just some of the reasons why I love you from A to Z. A is because you're adorable, affectionate, authentic, and the apple of my eye. B is for all the books you've written and your deep, abiding love for the written word. C is because you're captivating and you care for me. D is for your depth, your daring do, your delicious lips and decadent kisses. E is for your enthusiasm and your empathy. F is for your fertile mind, fearless stage performances, and fantastically skilled fingers. G is for your goodness, your generosity, your gorgeous eyes, gregarious personality, and because I'm so glad I met you. H is for your heart, I hold it in my heart. I is for your intellect and your myriad interests. J is for your jack talk, need I say more? K is for your kisses, I just can't get enough, your keenness and your kindness. L is for the love we share. M is for your mischievous streak, your motivation, and because, thankfully, you're mine. N is because you're a natty dresser, you give great nookie, you're noteworthy, and you nourish me. O is for your observant nature, your optimism, your openness, and because you're an original. P is for your passion, your playfulness, your poetry, and because you're precious and, dare I say, priceless to me. Q is because you're quick-witted, quirky, and you've become quintessential to my happiness. R is for your romantic nature and your rarity. S is for your smile and because you're sexy, sensitive, and sweet. T is because I suspected that I was in trouble the day I met you. I was terrified to fall in love with you, and you show me how terrific you are each and every day. U is because you're unusual in the best possible sense of the word. V is because you're my one and only Valentine, and I love you very, very much. W is because you're wonderful, and I wished for you before I knew you existed. X is for all our X-rated moments, how I love them. Y is for your art, your musicality, and your rhythm. Y is for you, my baby. Z is because you're zippy, zingy, and zealous. I'm not a poet as far as I know, but I do love you, honey. Happy Father's Day.
That was great.
Wasn't it? Yeah. That's a lot better than my first poem.
Straight from the heart.
Straight from the heart. Yes, exactly. I actually just recently, today, wrote some lines. Love means to knit a story around someone that protects them and nourishes them. I wrote this to celebrate Songi's birthday. That was for Father's Day. This was for her birthday. And her name is Land, by the way. Not Land, but Land. So it comes out, Songi means Buddha in Tibetan. So Songi Land comes out Buddha Land.
Oh.
Interestingly. Anyway, this is for Songi's birthday. There's a long lake and trees surrounding it in a womb-like formation with marvelous shifting clouds in the deep blue sky. I know this lake doesn't exist, but I think of it as where you were born, in Oregon, a womb place to which your mind returns and to which now my mind has access. I think of you emerging from it with a magical name, Songi, defining you. There are birds in this forest, but they are silent as your consciousness arises and comes into the world. None of this is real. It's story, something I made up to fill my mind with what I cannot know, your origin. Were there wings that you discarded at the lake and a quiet, bearded boatman to deliver you to this world? Was there another you before this one? What was your history? What was the little girl who looked around her at a world which at times would be cruel to her? What lies were you told? What truths? What is it that makes you sometimes shudder? Is it the memory of that lake, that forest, those marvelous abandoned wings? Did the boatman betray you? None of this is true, and yet truth enters into it, and a magic world that radiates delight and fear and love. What were they? Those clouds, those trees, that lake, those wings diaphanous. Could they protect
the living soul that arose in magic and carried with it traces of that nowhere, that magic land, through all your loved, tumultuous, passionate, fiery days. Thank you. The other readings I did here were with my late wife Adele, who died 2 years ago now. And I have a book, Grief Songs, that details my seeing her through her death and so on and so forth. I wanted to read one poem from Grief Songs. It's a poem about Adele's death. And it has a French phrase, le néant des choses humaines, means the nothingness of human affairs. I translated it in the poem. It's from Rousseau. What you discover in such a situation is what Rousseau called le néant des choses humaines, the nothingness of human affairs. Adele's concerns, the laundry, our finances, her plants, dinner, people at AC Transit, people in the local community, poetry people, whether I parked the car close enough to the curb, her Visa card, the Toyota, her haiku, the goldfish, me, the light in the leaves as she passed by in the morning, credit cards, J.R.R. Tolkien, Octavia Butler, Miss Fisher's murder mysteries, the egrets at Lake Merritt, the homeless on her way to AC Transit to whom she gave money and boxes of raisins, her son and daughter-in-law, hundreds of others in a complex web of caring, all disappeared, poof, in a few moments on the afternoon of June 25th, 2016, in a Kaiser hospital room when she fainted in septic shock and her dear heart stopped. Suddenly, all of that was gone, as if it never existed. Le néant des choses humaines. I remember it, some of it, even most of it, but for her, it's a spider web someone brushed off a window. Gone. It is this that we make poems and stories and beautiful lies to avoid. This sudden view, when a long-loved, long-known, long-accepted person dies, and we see it deep and clear. All right, song is coming back for this one. Thank you, dear. It's called The Angelic Wind.
I thought we were doing red next.
Sorry. The Angelic Wind. We get in the habit of saying certain things
Presenting ourselves in certain ways.
until the angelic wind blows that apart.
We love certain people, think of them with kindness and affection.
Until the angelic wind blows that apart.
Is death an angelic wind?
We might as well call it a diabolical wind.
It doesn't matter. It's a force that blows something apart, something we thought solid and immutable.
Until the diabolical angelic
The angelic, diabolical.
insists that we were wrong. We exist.
Not as rocks or trees or garages.
We are waves of the sea.
Shape-shifting at the will of something we will never know.
At one moment, one thing.
At another, another, and telling ourselves
Until the angelic wind reminds us
that we are constant,
that we are unities.
not the leaves,
Not the scraps of wind-blown paper.
not the flower petals.
That we are. It's a somewhat noisy poem. I was thinking of the murders in Florida. It's called Rant After Florida. How do we mourn for children How do we mourn for these defenseless ones? How do we cry out against a future cut off at the root? We call it senseless and look for reasons. Blame the victims, blame the authorities, blame everything except the true cause, which lies all around you as plain as day, in every television show, in every news story, in every comic book, in every political statement, in every action hero, in every piece of parental guidance, in every song, in rap, hip-hop, pop, old movies, all university syllabi, books, talk shows, in every assassination attempt in the National Rifle Association, in any political party, left, right, or center, in every attempt to better the situation, in capitalism, in socialism, in radical, in conservative, in the banks, in auto dealerships, in my mother's complaints about my behavior, in prisons, in freedom, in the latest movement about love, in Christianity, in Judaism, in Islam, in Buddhism, in the KKK, in the Young Men's Christian Association, in the collision of all these things, in the consciousness of a young man paralyzed in his need for action and self-assertion, and who can see no possibility of action other than the annihilation of everything and everyone he sees, so that a new heaven and a new earth may be born, so that the new may be announced and the old may perish, and himself the sacrificial instrument, the Christ, through which these long desired things may be accomplished.
So that a new heaven and a new earth may be born, so that the new may be announced and the old may perish, and himself the sacrificial instrument, the Christ, through which these long desired things may be accomplished.
How do we mourn the culture, the values, the world that makes all this a possibility? I was closing the poem that's titled by 1 year less than Christian's age. It's called At 78, and there's a quote at the beginning from Robert Lowell. Is getting well ever an art, or art a way of getting well? At 78, you begin to believe in magic.
Hold your hands out.
Not in the crude sense, not that you believe it's true,
Look at them.
or that the heaven stories are waiting for you.
They have been yours for so many years.
Not that rabbits will appear from hats,
Consider your eyes.
though rabbits do appear from hats,
What companions they've been
as well as from other rabbits.
over all this time.
It's that everything seems bizarre
And
and,
your legs propelling you
despite theories of causation,
from one strange place
unreasonable. You begin to feel a strangeness
to another,
at the heart of things,
at the heart of the universe.
working its way into everything you have experienced.
Is a quality we recognize with age.
You may call this strangeness magic,
The young need to believe
a category in Western culture distinct from science and religion.
in the comforting rationality of things.
It interrupts
The old know or believe they know.
everything we know
It's nothing but tarot.
and makes it seem
And the hanged man, the moon, the death card
unlikely, unfathomable, may show at any time. Thank you.
Thank you. You have books, don't you? Yes. He has books, ladies and gentlemen. He has books. Don't let him escape. Come on, give him another round there. That was great. Come on, you people. Guy comes up here, shatters the universe before your very eyes. All right. Thank you. No, thank you. So we're going to arrange to have this wonderful pair come back because, you know, that. We're going to take a very brief break. Now I'm going to do I've done the math, and we have a huge second show, many people here, and I'm looking at the time, and the time is tight. So we're going to have an on-deck chair. That means when I call you up, there will be someone sitting in a chair here when person A is finished, person B who is sitting there gets up. That saves a little bit of time. Also, time your pieces. We're going to try to keep it to about 4 minutes, so if you can do less than that, that's even better. That way everybody gets on. That's one of the eternal traditions of this place since the 1970s,
we try to get everybody on. And of course, the second half really blossomed tonight. Every once in a while it does this and go, my God, there's 9,463 people out there. Of course, I'm counting the invisible people who are here listening. They don't really get on the mic very often, but when they do, you hear that. Anyway, so I'm going to turn this so it faces the wall. That way no one's being filmed inadvertently. Talk to them about their books. In 3 minutes or maybe 4 we'll start, because I'm thinking the time is tight and I'd like to get everybody on. That's part of my job is to do that. Part of the other job is to talk like this and say, why do you talk like that? I don't know. I'm a schizophrenic with delusions of grandeur. Anyway, I'm turning this around. Have a break. Talk to them. Schmooze as you feel appropriate, but no groping.
Well, yeah, I know, but he's not here, thank God.
Without permission, Dan. These are the words in case you need to write something at some point.
Yeah, okay, yes. I'm so sorry I sent you on that mission.
It wasn't it? I thought I saw like a calendar in there.
There was a calendar, but there was one side.
I basically took everything that was to the right of the keyboard.
Yes, I saw that. It clearly wasn't there.
There were a couple things that were obviously not.
And so I'm thinking what I might have found, or I'm just put it in my school bag. Or I might put it on the side of the course.
I can assure you it was not to the right of your keyboard.
Yes, that's where I thought it should have been.
Oh well.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you. So I'm going to send out a notice send a notice about that tonight. So you need to and that day is also confusing because I had the day wrong.
I think that's what it is. Would you guys have me down here? They can put you down here. Dan put you right down. Yeah, 24. Yeah. How you doing, bud? Hi, Crab. How's Bubby? How you doing? Oh, good. I guess just as long as it's I think so.
Oh, she read Campesino by Garrett Sumner. Okay, now I get All right. Thanks for rescuing the Hey, Potter! I'm here like I'm a hero. Glad I got there so fast. Says their child has branch in the Open Public Library on Saturday, September 22nd. No, he says I have to go there and hope I can talk to the person who's running into the I thought it was a different date. I planned June 2nd. It's watches. But she's not going to be here, she has a son. So she invited me to be one of the things. So I'm going to go. Actually, I'm planning to see Shakespeare in the park. That's great. It's over 19. I'm telling you,
Style is absolutely the same. All the good for the word for Brady.
Well, it was good practice. Yeah, I know. Well, see, the thing is, until they started piling into the room, it didn't have to
I think I'm gonna get here early, unless I have something.
Hold on a second, hold on.
I did have a note on the back also because so I'm giving out, we're actually starting out. Kind of when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that
You can get this one. You can do
Now listen.
All right, we're going to get started, ladies and gentlemen. The second hour is soul ringing. My mama done told me when I was in knee pains. I don't remember the rest of that song. Tommy the McCollum knows the rest of that song. He can quote it to me. You're over there, Woke up this morning, put on my slippers, walked into the kitchen and died. Oh, what a feeling as my soul went through the ceiling. Went up into heaven, I did ride. When I got there, they did say, John in heaven, yes, away. You slipped upon the floor and smacked your head. And there's more to that song, but we got our second half beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, you're forcing me to pull out the harmonica. All right, there we go. See, the hush falls over the audience. Let me turn this thing around so I know what I am doing.
See, they're getting quieter. All it takes is a little bit of muscle power. Where are they? There it is. So, thank you.
Thank you for taking your seats. We're in the second show. We have a long second show, so try to do 3 minutes plus, because that way everybody will get on and won't feel nervous. My heart will stay in my chest and won't beat so hard. Let's see what else is there. There is nothing else. There is nothing else.
All right. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second show. And we have Rob, who is the last word, who opens and closes the second half. And I'm framing him as he probably doesn't like to be framed. So try to keep it short, be the best. We're old, my brain isn't working anymore.
This is called Rebirth Rocket. When men broke women, they broke themselves. They shattered half the supports under life's shelves. Men lost contact with sister, mother, daughter voices. And lonely people make lousy choices. Life became not a conversation, but a preaching. Men went into denial about their overreaching. We can't just wave a wand to make it okay. Women need to rediscover what they have to say. The process is faltering. The process is clumsy. Expect female leaders who sound like daddy, not mumsy. And Hollywood can be counted on to make stupid choices. Many movie heroines are just vaginas with male voices. Be patient here on the Rebirth Rocket launching pad. But don't waste time, because men fucked up pretty bad. And my last piece is called Snapshots and Snow Globes. I loathe the game, I'm not right for you. We count on our brains to see us through, bestowing love only where we find no frictions, with all our requirements, all our restrictions. Are we woven from the same weave? Do we cleave to what they believe? Affinities and divinities, references and preferences, landscapes and escapes, conclusions and delusions. But our brains are dumber than our DNA. Our molecules feel the truths that we hide away. Our bones prime us to love a universe of folk. But obeying those cells becomes a sick, sick joke. This world punishes those who love without measure. We negative reinforce, we poison that pleasure. And even when we do follow our sad little brain, those loving choices lead too often to pain. How else could it be when love is a negotiation? Snapshots and snow globes give no oxygenation. So each life becomes a starless galaxy, only black holes where love was supposed to be.
Thank you, Rob. Now Antoinette. And after Antoinette, we have George. Is George out there? George? Why don't you come to the on-deck chair, George, if you don't mind? Yeah. Well, you know. So we have George, then Sophie, then Britt, then Yasmin, then Nikki, Christian, Greg Pond, we got Jacob, Sharon, Amber, Rob, looks like J-A-W-A-O, Jawan? Did I say that right? Jawan, did I say it right? Okay. Then Garrett, then Karen, and Garlic, never mind.
Hi, everybody. So the first one I'm going to read is one of the first ones I ever wrote, so I'll do an early and a late. It goes like this. Unfortunately, the light beige room held no attraction for the woman, flaunting white pasty skin with iridescent orange-pink undertones in the morning sun. Her loose hair reflects an unsettling resemblance to huge gray-green serpent regularly seen breaking brick walls that lead to a mossy pond. Clear glass door tightly closed, no possibility of merging man and spirit. They did not believe the snake was true until, like a railway car, it bolted forward, shattering the ordinary. No cause for alarm, the tourist whispered, buying Uggs and eggs from the young man's store. He's doing a lot better this year. The economy sucks, it does not matter. The light beige room has a view and is currently occupied.
Oh,
that was a And then this is an early one too. It goes, still in San Francisco, wandering Dogtown, searching streets for hints of acceptance and century-old Victorians needing paint. Gentrification at 28th and West, young man at his aunt's estate sale, someone else will live there. Prostitutes and drug deals sprinkle streets like brown sugar on cinnamon toast. Queer families fill factory lofts, hydroponic garden, fenced yard, prayer flags, large barking dogs own the place. Wow. And this is something pretty recent. It's called the Love-Hate Polarity. Hate is love's proxy, rainbows and realized excitement, belonging, passion, togetherness in guns. Alt-right steps to separation while community interbeing with no defense or reserve brings unity through compassion, empathy, twin hearts. To love haters is viable, to love hate impossible. Love thy enemy taken full course, defenselessness is strength. His gentle voice calling us, offering only love's messages. Home is far away, we cannot return alone. And lastly, roaming through stars, considered world stage, mystery parable, diminished stringent fear, holding bouquet of power until sentences realized he meant this but said that. It's all secret anyway, to pretend we know takes layers of uncertainty to light. Hidden stone door waits to open on small push. Chest splayed open under heart, starved herself when she got food poisoning once, then refused sustenance, languished alone. News comes in waves, filtered for palpability. Breathe in, be present, value not the valueless.
Thank you, Antoinette. Beautiful. As always, clear voice. This is the first time here? Yes. We have a first timer, ladies and gentlemen. Show them what that means.
Thank you. Okay.
We mean it.
Okay, I'm gonna play one or two of my songs depending on how quick I do it. Here we go. This one's called Colours and Sound.
Well, I took a look inside into the mind of a sender. She said, go on, draw a card. I think we found our winner in mangoes in the dawn of mine. Colours in that song. Oh, take those bits and glue them back together. One night she told me of a tale that came from somewhere deep within her. Said she needs more than a toy or someone to forgive her. But the fireflies are monologue. That were torn. Oh, take those bits and glue them back together. Thank God, my love, you'll never see the storm you took away from me. Thank God, my love, you'll never know how deep this soul emotion goes. Ooh, oh. So tear the stitches, break your heart. There's nothing left for you here, just the pieces that were left. What you know. Well, as I rose, the light grew fast. She looked right through my mirror. She told me I could do no harm, but give all you can deliver. I said that I would not forget the night we played and not you wet. Oh, take those bits, put them back together. As I rose like a fast, she looked right through my mirror. She told me I could do no harm, but give all you can deliver. I said that I would not forget the night we played and not you wet. Oh, take those bits and put them back together. Thank God, my love, you'll never see the storm you took away from me. Thank God, my love, you'll never know how deep this old emotion goes. Ooh, oh, oh. So sad the stitches break apart. There's nothing left for you here, just the pieces that were left to watch you know.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have like maybe your hands on
I'll play a little bit of the song.
Okay, all right. He's going to do a part of the next one because time is killing us here. He's a very generous guy.
Thank you.
Screaming teens with bloody knees and handcuffs, tying you to the center of the stage. They've got knives and they've got spotless screeners on, skinny jeans, crooked teeth and that. There are no handles here to hold, the edges are slipping. Chose the road, there's no one else to blame. On the long bus orbit floats around the cellular chatter, telling these places are the same.
Thank you.
Beautiful! So, hey, come back.
I will be.
Please. All right. Thank you. Sophie! Looks like Sophie is next. And then Britt on the chair. Next. And then we have, after Britt, we have Yasmin. And Yasmin, you're already ready in the right spot. Perfect. All right. So, you're new here, aren't you? Oh, okay. She's also new here, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, let's go. This is Sophie. of the Minnesota Sophies that we have heard so much about in the news recently. She is not one of the pyramid people.
Like Frank said.
I'm actually, I'm from Berlin. I'm German.
Ah, guten Tag. Freulich zu Weihnachten. That's pretty bad, but you know.
Yeah, it's not so early.
I know. It's never too early for Christmas. My mom used to say.
That's true. Okay.
So much. Thank you. Are you visiting?
Traveling.
You have to have the next person come up in time, but thank you so much. From Berlin yet already. She must win the prize for the longest distance person, I think. At least tonight. Because we had somebody from Mongolia at one point. Yeah, it was amazing. Britt now, and then Nikki. Oh no, Yasmin, you're there. So Britt, Yasmin, Nikki. Where's Nikki? Can you come up here? That way we can make things a little easier. He is our mini feature for the evening, so he will regale us. I like the way he takes down the man in the long red tie. It's one of my favorite things.
You can find that on YouTube, about 17 of them now. Okay, garlic is the
theme, yes.
The theme tonight. Okay, there's an intrusion in this poem. I'm going to leave it in. Have some garlic, won't go away. Some in the garden, some in the bowl. The mild charge from crushed garlic. Go back for more. A rough red, a thick sauce, rigatoni and garlic. Bingo, bango, bongo. Sophia Loren as a gammon. Ho. Papa DeSica's sloppy kitchen. Trips to the old U.S. restaurant. Luigi Camillo and his daughters wear the odor of their pesto and calamari for days. I know what I like. Lots of garlic. Taken with the Di Stefano aria. Garlic and vampires. Never had much trouble with vampires. Never worried about vampires until I met a lab technician at Kaiser. She took me to a room with odd mirrors. Her piercing eyes, she gathered blood by the bucketful. It's a good idea to wear a garlic necklace whenever you go out or take a late stage over the Brenner Pass. Nine 1918, an open space. A beat-up chair on the back deck. I could write here. Reaching pines, the smooth blue sky, painless early fall air. Bring me a ham sandwich. Change my water. I'll be here for a while. And garlic sneaks back into this poem. The muse stops by. It must be Wednesday. Put a hat on. You'll get a burn, she says. Odor of garlic and powdered feathers. She flies away before the conversation gets serious. I've got 3 fairly short poems about poets that have passed but are still here. USA Poetry, Charles Olson. A great flailing of arms, ash flying from his cigarette. It's Charles Olson, Maximus of Gloucester. Reads the poem from the middle out. Dick Moore, the cameraman, braces himself, catching glancing views, glows, gathering in the documentation, the footnotes. A lively demonstration of projective verse. Charles Olson, too big for his own kitchen, working the charts of the old sea captain, sipping wine as he does. Walks now down to the harbor, ambling over the loose planked pier. Seagulls and the salty breath of the sea greet him.
Nice.
Winter moon. Levi and Walt Whitman are sitting on the back deck, viewing the winter moon. Their talk has gone on for hours about local weather conditions crossing the moon in various regions. They consider Lincoln's death and the song of marsh birds. They remember Arthur Dove, his luminous journeys on the Hudson. I was there with him, muses Walt, and they offer unstinting praise for riders' varnished moon. Winter cold, light clouds, full moon. This moon rides above their heads, its pace at one with evening conversation. And for an early mentor, Jack Spicer. Jack set in concrete along the Embarcadero Promenade. I almost walk over his words. The name set in brass, famous then, like Gentleman Jim and Harry Bridges. Set in brass, how appropriate to bellow and curse along with foghorns, lost ships, and ravenous gulls.
Now we have Yasmin coming up. What was our committee feature? Yasmin will be reading, and then, oh yeah, thank you very much.
A kitchen without garlic is like a home without love. I use garlic every day. I like it.
It's the best antibiotic. Best antibiotic. The Muslims are under attack, so I'm going to read this. The principal sent for mother the next day and said very seriously through a cuffed hood that I should become a nun. Many non-Catholics were summoned this way. Mother was aware of the reason she was sent for. I sent you to an anglicized school to be disciplined, not discipled, she said. I sat at the walnut desk facing Mother Lenora and my mother in a heavily curtained office. She's a spoiled child, the nun spoke under her hood. One who has neither the intellect she is given, nor the willpower to refine her manner. She skips school at least once a week. I know nothing of that. Mother looked curiously at me. Where does she go? She doesn't come home. They turned towards me. I stammered. I just sit under the tamarind tree. There, you see what I mean? Mother Eleonora made a point. I've seen you myself, Omri, jumping the fence with an umbrella covering your face. I'd know you anywhere, my child. I do not need to see your face. Mother listened silently to Mother Eleonora. In solitude, she will find her way. The Lord will give her the strength she needs. We are Muslims, Mother said. Even so. Her face seemed a masquerade of calm. Her father would never permit it. Talk to him, it's for our own good. Mother looked like an old woman under a banyan tree. Her white cotton palo clung like tendrils to her body. Mother had taught me not to believe in ghosts. I watched her in the office and remembered her sitting outside the mosque while Father prayed. Do you want to become a nun? She asked. I sat, not answering. Come along now, child. Answer your mother. Mother apologized for my silence. She promised to take me under her wing. The Bible would help her understand, Mother Lenora said. Mother led me away from the office. Let me know if she misses school a single day, she said to Mother Lenora. And please, do give her one last chance. I'll make sure she studies. On the way back home, Mother talked continuously about sister. Never had any trouble from her. She was the youngest and stood first in class. Second, I replied. Stop being stubborn, Omri. Your father is going to cane you. In deep thought, she added somewhat later, I wish you were like sister. Then afterwards, on the bus, she lectured me about how she would put me in a boarding school if I didn't improve. She talked about goodness, not godness. The road leading back to our house was festooned with men crawling like ants into the buses. They ran helter-skelter, dodging the hand-carved carts, while Mother talked strange talk. She talked about a human mind, about destiny, about an ideal, and about eternity. Father was furious when Mother told him. He shouted at me at the dining table before dismissing the servants. He sent me up to bed. Later that night, I heard them in their room. I totally disagree with you, Sissy. Father spoke aloud to Mother. This is what happens when the kids are not taught the Quran. And what about the Quran? Mother rebutted. Omri needs the Quran. Then let them read it when they learn to understand it, she said. Every religious book is memorized because it is rarely understood, she said. Father's voice was rising. You are wrong, Sissy, and I disagree with your ideas on religion because you too are harnessed to fear. Father could not pursue any logical argument to its end. Mother played on his weakness. When he finally stopped shouting, Mother would say in her gentlest voice, you are a sentimentalist, a deductive fatalist, my boss. That night, I woke up from my sleep screaming because I dreamed that Father was drowning. It was Mother who rushed to my bed. Father was drowned in sleep. Thank you.
Thank you. Bravo. We have another first-time individual, Nikki. Give her a nice round as she comes up. Celebration.
This is a gift. I'm Nikki Addis. It's so nice to be here. I came for Rob. That's why I'm here. And I saw some familiar faces right there. And you know, I didn't even like plan on getting up here at all. I was like, I'll put my name on the list and see how I feel. I always have to see how I feel because I just don't know. I have this idea, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be on top of the world. Everything is gonna be magical. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just hard. I mean, just standing up is hard. Sitting down is hard. Everything is so hard. Oh my God, hi, how are you? I feel amazing. Yeah, it's been a long time. Oh God. And this is just me, like, being with me, you know, and I'm just like, oh. So I had a little surgery, so I've been off work. I'm in, like, the restaurant business, and I couldn't go back to work for a while because I can't lift more than, like, 10 pounds, which is basically like a salt. I'm like, would you mind putting salt on my food for me? So I went from this, like, really independent woman to, like, sort of, like, needy and sort of a princess. Like, can you do me a favor? Can you just move that over there? Because I can't lift it. It's more than 10 pounds. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, and this is actually, I went to work earlier than I was supposed to because I've been going kind of insane with just sort of the quiet time of just taking walks and looking like, what do these people do all day? Like, these people just go on walks all day? Like, they just hang out by the beach all day? I'm like, what are they? I mean, so I'm like taking inventory of like what people do when they're not at work. And you start seeing the same people and you're like, you're just trying to occupy yourself with a cup of coffee. Oh my God. And then you walked over there to the other market and got like a soda pop. That's so interesting. So you're hearing the voices too, aren't you? Yeah. So I've gotten really close with ravens and hawks and crows because they're pretty abundant in Pacifica, and that's where I live and that's where I grew up. And so I went back to work. I work along the Embarcadero. It's a little fucking busy down there. You know, I've been in 6 weeks of zen, quiet time with the beach. Real nice, real quiet, nice. To going downtown. Going downtown. Oh my God. So I'm just like, I'm having an anxiety attack, like right and left. I'm talking to myself and I'm like, holy fuck. Sorry if anyone's like offended by fuck, but I'm not really sorry because I was like, Jesus Christ, it's fucking busy down here. It's really busy down here. And I'm washing my hands and I'm trying to like organize things because that's what I do. I organize, and this table's wobbly. Is it that kind of bug in here? That would bug me. Like, are you kidding? I'm just like, the building could be burning down and I'm like, do you mind if I just borrow this right here? But don't bend down too much, Nikki. You can't bend down too much. You can't lift more than 10 pounds. There's all these fucking rules. I can't, all these rules. Going crazy. So I'm washing my hand and I'm like, maybe I came back to work too soon. I mean, maybe I'm meant to hang out with the people. I go to 3 different coffee shops in like a 24-hour period, and I start recognizing them, and I'll swear I'll sum this up. So I look, and I'm like, is that what I see? And I'm like, no joke, no joke. It's not the Castro Street Fair. It's not Folsom Street Fair. It's not Gay Pride. It's just a Wednesday, and I have 2 men walking down Embarcadero naked. Yes, naked. And I look and I'm in such shock. You know, I mean, I've seen this stuff before. I haven't seen a penis in a really long time, you can imagine. But I was like, I was fully like, look, I was like, they have penises. There's penises. So I have to say, I'm kind of glad that I'm back outside in the world. You know, shell shock is wearing off. This is nice to be here. I really have been touched by many of your sharings, your poetry, your music. Thank you. And I'm going to just be quiet now because can you tell I haven't been talking to anybody but birds? Okay. I'm Nikki Adams. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we have Christiane coming up and then Greg Ponce. So Greg, why don't you try to keep it to 3 if you can because we're closing in on the big burner. Don't ask me what that means.
Greg, I'll make a wait for you.
No, he's I'm not sure. So we're gonna go for like 3 minutes if you can, all right? And
give him a round, Christiane. Thank you. Haven't seen him in a while.
surrogates, grandmas and grandpa, uncles and aunts, at least not Hollywood or Madison Avenue concoctions. They were there for me, somewhat in loco parentis, further confusing my issues, driving me to create my private guardian angels. My Saint Horatio, who's now singing IWW songs and aiming his hard-on at all the Republican congressmen and conservative Supreme Court justices, driving them out of D.C. and out of my mind. My Saint Hortense, riding Godiva-like naked on a fast horse, on a mission to round up anyone else conspiring to privatize America and to herd them into the kivas of ethical culture, where they'd be shamed into addressing the pain of those whose dreams are nightmares.
Love it! Christianity, we haven't seen you in a while, so you got to come on back. And now, great pond around here. This is the great pond. Jacob is out there. Try to keep it to 3, because that's the way it be. I rhymed. I made a rhyme.
Good evening, everybody. In the interest of time, I'm just going to do one.
But make it a good one. All of yours are good. But no, but all I was gonna say, but all of these are good ones. So I'm trying to.
What pressure?
I know.
Okay.
I didn't have the pressure because I'm old.
At the border.
All right.
Where's your son? Where's your daughter? Are they sleeping safe and sound, or did they snatch them at the border? The punishment for immigrants entering as refugees and seeking asylum is detention and arrest at the behest of a president, while the kids are no longer beside them. From early native invasion through the height of the slave trading, it's a regrettable but familiar refrain buried in the DNA of this nation. Separation used once again as a deterrent marked "stay away" to anyone caught wearing the wrong color skin in the good old USA. While those with no souls are quick to say, well, only a few aliens got bothered and they shouldn't have been here anyway. The callous disregard for family and kin since this country's beginning sure ain't nothing new. Couples have been split and their kids shipped off to God knows why or even where to. They used to keep us on reservations, in internment camps and shacks. Now some get kept in cages like prisons or zoos. When parents get deported and babies have to defend themselves in court, how do they ever get their families back? And what the hell are we gonna do? Meanwhile, a first lady pays a visit to see firsthand what it is these folks are going through. But she undermines it all by sporting a jacket with the message scrawled, "I really don't care." Do you?
Yep.
Give Jacob a round as he comes up. And Sharon, you're the next one up. You want to come take the seat there, dear. Jacob, give him another round. Just get him warmed up here. Or a duodecahedron.
This is from a series of poems called Old School Poetics. Number 1, Tenderloin Testimonial. I walk through the Tenderloin and see a dozen souls sleeping on pavement, under storefronts with thin blankets, empty Burger King wrappers, Old English, and ancient marijuana smokes, beside disheveled needles scattered like seeds. Outside of Montgomery BART, I see a man sitting on cardboard, cutting his forearms with a pocket knife. Hundreds of people walk past him as he yells, "I no longer wish to live." They pretend not to hear his calls, ears clogged by white wireless earbuds. They pretend not to see the blood caked on his sweater and the pool of crimson forming at his feet. For a moment, I'm frozen. staring at all the faces in a hurry to get to their predetermined places. No one says a word. They look through him, hoping the image of his reality will disappear at any moment, except a suit who deems it fitting to film the man for social media and then continue about his day. I walk up to the man and ask him why he's doing this to himself. I just want to feel something. They look at me like I am nothing. We talk for some time. I confess that I am a broke scribe and I don't have any money or food to offer. He says, "That's okay. I don't want money. All I was looking for was a conversation. How long can we allow our neighbors to suffer? For a city that preaches unity and equality, we have many layers of division. What is the price for human life?" This poem is for my lovely Laura. It's called La Rambla, and I preface it with a quote. "The only street in the world in which I wish would never end." Federico Garcia Lorca, a Spanish poet. I'll never forget the night we began. The thump of music and constant chatter faded. All I saw was you. We kissed and fled to the bathroom for more kisses that weren't so private. I thought love was poison until you convinced me to try it. If life were a single street, I would refuse to walk it without you. For alone, I'd end up lost amongst the commotion, never again having a single notion. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for coming back. And now we have the illustrious Sharon Scott Kish, who will regale us with the tales of a long ago mysterious world. And then Amber, if Amber is out there, will Amber kindly come?
Son of God.
They're singing Kansas.
And then we got Rob.
Okay. This is dedicated to Greg. It's called
Greg Pond?
Greg Bond.
I just want to make sure there's lots of Gregs. My middle name is Greg.
Oh, please. It's called Do-Wop Ain't Me. Teenage boys buying latest songbooks. Every Friday, the top 20 hits came out. All of them ran to the drugstore. Girls, too. Everyone wanted to be a top 10 group. Every girl wanted to be a backup singer or have their girl group. Of course, this meant that you had to get the steps down, get your song words right, and you were on top. Everyone wanted to have a hit record. They wanted to be like the great guys, like Otis Redding, James Brown. So they would practice. They'd practice on the school ground, they'd practice on the street corners, they'd practice in their homes, in their backyards. This, of course, meant lots of mowing lawns, babysitting, bagging, being grocery baggers, throwing newspapers, and all the other things, helping people with household chores. You wanted to be sharp as a tack. This meant getting all of the clothes right. Might have something with a satin lapel, might be a little tight suit with a little tight tie. Hair bumped, hair high. Hair combed, hair greased. Hair pressed, hair curled. Everyone did it. The girls got their Lana Lobel catalogs, and they got their Fredericks of Hollywood. The Fredericks of Hollywood catalogs were under the bed. Make sure your mother doesn't see it, and when the package comes, send it to someone else's house. So then they would practice. Next thing you know, they're ready. They're all ready. You've got your suits ready. You've got your nylons ready. You've got your tight dresses on. You carry it on the stage like Laverne Baker if you're older and you're singing solo. Hair is bumped. Nut brown powder. Careful. Don't forget that Cherries in the Snow and Love That Red by Revlon. They must have made a fortune. Get those seams straight. Girl, put that garter belt on. Douse yourself, and all you kids, douse yourself with Old Spice, Evening in Paris, Bay Rum, white shoulders on those black shoulders, and Prince Machiavelli, Wind Song. Your Wind Song stays on my mind. Just might have to sneak it out because you're not supposed to have it on in the first place. The idea was to be sharp as a tack. Not only did you have to have the words down, you had to have the steps. Appearance, you had to be on your fan base. Girls screaming, throwing their phone numbers at you. Battle of the Battle of the Groups was on. Parents didn't pay much attention until maybe you got a small record deal. Maybe a one-hit record. Maybe if nothing else, just a chance to be with the girls. Maybe you might be the next Sam Cooke, Frankie Lyon and the Teenagers. That wouldn't be too much to hope for. Next thing, you big time. Jackie Wilson, the Shirelles, any mixed group, you wanted to be there. Zola Taylor and the Platters. Crowds of teenagers screaming at your feet. Big cars, travel. Maybe new house and cars for your parents. But that was all for fame. You really wanted to be heavy with the chicks, cute with the boys. So then you practice and you practice. So while you're practicing, it's warm, it's May, it's nighttime, you're under the streetlight singing. The dishes are washed, everything's put away, the old ladies are on the porches fanning. Some men, but most of the men are in watching the Friday night fights. Look sharp, be sharp, Gillette. You can hear the forks scraping across the plates. People eating pie, leftover pie. Some people walking to Velvet Freeze to get ice cream. Next thing you know, it's getting later, and everyone wants to go. Of course, the little imps across the street, Sharon and Janice and that group, they're mocking you. They're imitating you. You hate them. Then it gets later and later. It's getting late, and all of a sudden, my grandmother goes to the door. Jesse, Jerome, all of you guys, get off that corner. This is not a tenement. I'm going to call your father. And, of course, her little voice, he yells up, Jacob yells up. And she said, Jacob, I'm calling your father. And in the dark, Jacob yells up, it ain't me, Miss Walker. And Mr. Wiggins says, that boy is dumb as a sack of bricks. So they keep practicing. Of course, Jacob's been put on probation. But they keep practicing, and all Jacob can hope for is a moonlit night in a big convertible with his best girl, Betty.
Yeah! So, Amber, and she is also a new person here, ladies and gentlemen, so give her the treatment.
Hi, I'm a nurse. I work at San Francisco General Hospital. I live across the street, and I'm not a poet, but my sister is, and this is her poetry. And she lives in Iowa, otherwise she might be here tonight. So anyway, first one, H1N1 blues. Cough, cough, hack, hack. Snort and sneeze till blue. Dripping sweat and cold chills, and hurts all over too. This uninvited guest has really begun to stink, and this several-day-long fever drove me nearly to the brink. I tried chicken noodle soup and got back percussed like drums, and down so much cough syrup, it finally gave me the runs. Tylenol and Claritin, nothing seemed to help, because this one flu fights dirty and it hits below the belt. I feel all too helpless. Just what else can I do when fighting microscopic beasts like H1N1 flu? That's Alright. Next. And then whenever it beeps, I'm done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try First Pink. This is the name of that poem. I can't help but think of you in the morning as the first pink, of sunlight splashes through the crescending choral cries and chirps of too early or maybe late birds, excitedly heralding the arrival of yet another chance, of yet just one more day, of best, the sense of possibilities, and oh, but the colors, seemingly always pink first, to ignite the day in ever brighter hues, painting sky and clouds brightly enough to reveal the stains and scars of my heart, and trace the shape of your name forever within. I can't help but think of you while melting down on this hot and humid summer day, sweltering, sweating, suffocating, in the oppressive embrace of obligations and good intentions, or of unwanted gratitudes, the same fires that fuel the sun and the spin of the very universe, and the light of every star, fuel too my heart to supernova, yearning to explore in one grand last gasp of love and life within your arms, knowing that we're tied together, whether apart by inches or miles, that the beat of your heart fuels the engine in my soul, pulling me upstream, helpless as a salmon to spawn, finding fulfillment only in that breath spent to see the beloved at last, and the death ceasingly spiraling. Okay, so I'm done. All right.
Thank you so much.
So you know what? I'll come back next Wednesday.
Good job. Yeah. Amber. Now we have the final four here. We have Juwan, Garrett, Karen, and Rob, who's the clincher, closer, super duper bulldozer. Is it coming? Or for you?
No, for you.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Very good. And we will talk because we have to talk. Terrorist from
Irish.
Irish. Thank you. All right.
No, there's no problem. Catch you next Wednesday. All right. Deal.
And is this your first time here?
Yeah.
Okay, another first timer. We have them blown it up tonight.
Isn't it crazy how I walked up and it was just perfect? Made me feel a little big. How you guys doing tonight?
Well, pretty darn good.
I'm nervous.
Why? You're good. You know everything.
Right? No,
Yeah.
no. You know everything.
No, I don't know everything. He doesn't write me back anymore.
He doesn't?
No, and you know, we have issues.
Really?
Yeah.
Everybody's got issues. That's no problem. Well, I tried to write for a 30 minutes straight, but I couldn't do it because I felt like I was forcing. So I'm just going to pretty much just let it flow. So hope you guys enjoy. Just kind of letting loose. I lived a life of such strife. It almost took my life. Once upon a time, I did a crime. I got away. I lost my mind. I did these drugs that made me feel so lovely. But all in all, it was a lie. A lie I told myself. A lie I told people. People who give me stuff. People who give me stuff to help me. But I'd use it to hurt me, not knowing that it was to nurture me. The true nurture of what I'd be needing was life. The spirit of the plants that have been giving me that. You know, since I've been here in California, it's been a dream. I keep thinking I'm gonna walk out the door and see Eminem running up the stream. But this ain't LA, you know, that's just a dream. But maybe someday I'll be swimming out, you know. Gotta let it flow, gotta let it go. It's a lot of things I don't know, but I wish to know. It's a lot of friends I'd like to make, but you can't force things like that. Because you might end up with a stake in your heart or a knife in your back, come up with an attack. People smile in your face because they act like that, you know. It's kind of strange when you go, and you just walk down the street, the people you'll meet, when you open up your heart, and just learn to speak. It's crazy what you do. Hey, I like those shoes. I like your hair. Where you going there? Things like that. Express your mind. Show people that you'll give them the time. Invest things. Care about things. Care about people. Show them new things. The other day I talked to a guy. I knew he told me a lie, but I didn't care. Because my heart was there. I gave him the $2 anyway. Because I don't have a care. Right now I'm living good. And it's my turn to spread. And if that drug just ends up to make him dead, then it's him instead of me. It's not a nice thing to say, but it's the way that this life goes. And it's the choice I chose to live.
So you got about like half a minute if you want to say something.
Maybe try a couple jokes. I don't know if I'm funny.
You want to hear my favorite joke?
What's your favorite joke?
Donald J. Trump.
Hey, that's a good one. Oh, scariest moment.
Yeah.
Scariest moment was when I read in the newspaper that Donald Trump could pardon himself. I literally broke out in tears. I was out homeless outside of Union Station. I walked inside of the station. I didn't even know what pardon mean. I was so scared. I walked up to people I didn't even know. Excuse me, could you explain this to me? He could be pardoned. That means he could excuse himself from any law he breaks. Donald Trump could be walking down the street and walk past my kid, thinking, wow, that's a cute little black girl. Take her up, throw her in a limo with him, drive off, pardon, just write a fucking piece of paper. I cried to these people that I didn't know. People I know who chose to walk past me every day. I was so scared. How could you people read the same paper as I do, right? You see this shit? This bullshit. And then eventually Amtrak police came and detained me. Excuse me, sir, you cannot do that here. I cannot use my amendment and free speech, speak freely. No, you cannot. You could do it outside. Oh, you must be a Donald Trump supporter. So then I hit his nerve, or I hit him right there in the gut. Because for some reason, I just knew exactly what to say to him. Oh, that's your problem. You on his back, huh? You wear a red tie too, huh? You got a wig too? You can put on a wig in the mirror and you pretend to be him? Huh? You're fired. Does it make you feel better? Then when we got outside, I really let it loose. Oh, your dick must be this big, huh? Oh, that one must have been true, because then he wouldn't let loose. He was behind me. I asked another homeless girl, I was like, give me a cigarette, man. They just kicked me out for trying to speak the truth. The truth that no one was ever courageous enough to speak. I said it myself. I didn't care if nobody else was listening. I was gonna speak what was crazy as shit to me that any man in this world, I don't give a fuck president or not. I don't give a fuck. Jesus don't got the right to come down and get away with anything the fuck he want to. He got his own set of rules that he follows. The hell makes you think the president gets that right? No other president did.
Thank you very much. Garrett and Karen and Rob. Right, Karen, Rob.
Oh my God, it's Rob.
No, it's Garrett and Karen and Rob. Rob closes the show, for crying out loud.
All right, Greg.
And Karen, why don't you come up here, because you're going to write after him. And then we got Rob, and all these wonderful prizes except my harmonic, which I've been breathing through, so you can't have this unless you want emphysema or noxema. Garrett, give him a round.
The secret prerequisite for passing the law enforcement academy.
Yes.
Congratulations to all you recruits. With the passage of our secret requirement, you have officially fulfilled all the tests for being able to call yourselves officers of the law. Let the outside world believe that what we mean by the special elite, that we mean toughening one's mind and body via basic training, or being proficient in hand-to-hand combat, or being the crackest shot imaginable. It is really none of those things. Nor is it familiarity with police jargon or military jargon, or how well you can handle our numerous types of armament, or even knowing your badge or serial number. The most uncanny and savvy among you manage to figure it out. It happens to be how well you can tell a tall tale, one that moves our allies in court and politics to believe you, when you can tell the target reached for your gun, or tried to assault you, or tried to threaten you and others, and you can now tell a most compelling story using that specially bred imagination. That, rookies, is what really makes a good law enforcer. You have passed with flying colors, and I am very proud of all of you. But just keep this in mind, officers. Real colors do not fly as gloriously as the ones you have just passed with.
Love that one. That's Garrett Murphy.
Oh, is onze Berlinerin nog da?
She's not there.
No, she's not.
Oh,
Okay,
she
I was just
stepped
going to say,
out
my
already.
daughter was born in Berlin and went to Prenzlberg. She said she was from East Berlin. Okay, anyway.
Seine Tochter war nach Berlin geboren.
Advertisement, get this book. It's got great stuff in it by our wonderful host, Dan Brady, Orphan City.
Orphan City.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta get it sometime. Okay.
Oh, yes, thank you.
This, gotta get the right
Orphan
one here.
Lady.
Okay. Yeah, I wrote this, it's about something that, a place I was in Armenia quite some time ago, but it brought to mind abandonment. I asked the taxi driver to take me to Old Erivan. We drove a long way and he let me out after digging his hand in my wallet and taking all my money. I was on deserted hills. I think they were Erebuni, a fortress once built before it spread into the city of Erivan. I wondered about who had lived here and if I would find anyone to help me get back to New Erivan. A student came by alone, like an angel in the desert, and gave me a bus ticket so I got back to town. But first I walked the hills of what I thought was old Erevon. Dust and rocks and desert, just as Erebuni was before a fortress was built more than 2,000 years ago, also known as Arenbaird, Fortress of Blood. I wondered if children had played here. I wondered if others had been abandoned, like me. Like so many people all over the world walk somewhere when their homes are destroyed by war or politics, and they must find new places to make new homes and have to live through more wars until they and their villages are abandoned again or ruined, until they become like this hill of dust. They pack up their few possessions and walk with their children anywhere, a river, an ocean, someone who exploits them until they find their way to a new land, maybe America, where their children are taken away and put in cages, while they are held in different prisons or deported without their children to places they do not know and cannot be found, and their children are abandoned, as perhaps long ago they were left, separated from their families, separated from their homes, remembering only somewhere where war was waged and the land disintegrated, like the families it once housed. I don't know if there's time, shall I do up the plastic cleanup? Do I have time for that?
You gotta have a minute.
Okay, well, stop me in the middle.
All right.
Ocean Cleanup System 001 launched September 8th. That was during the whole climate thing last week. Fantastic. On the way to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Boyan Slat, on his way to clean the oceans, a 600-meter-long floater with a 3-meter-deep tapered skirt will contain plastic and prevent its escape, moving at a rate so plastic can be removed. Slight hopes 50% will be gone in 5 years. Removed plastic will be sold to be recreated as beads of plastic for furniture and toys, never to see the ocean again. Optimistic but realistic for the ocean, what remains is plastic on land, being consumed by birds and animals, the far-flying albatross, well-documented plastic consumer, killing itself with plastic. We consumers need only stop producing and consuming plastic forever. Okay.
Thank you.
Part one.
Part one. She'll do that. She'll bring part two back. And now our closer. This is Rob, who is what we call the last word. It's one of the door prizes. He picked it last week, and so he begins and ends the second show. That's why he's back here, being Rob. We call him Rob because that's his name.
You or the voice? Middling ground is a little bit lower. Yeah. Okay. To close the night, a song and a prelude.
Prelude. Oh, thank you.
Jimmy and Jocko were jamming with Miles and Monk. It was jazzed, it was bluesed, it was fused, it was funk. Jocko and Jimmy were jamming with Monk and Miles. Everyone around had extraterrestrial smiles. Miles and Monk were jamming with Jocko and Jimmy. We felt our flesh quake, shake, and shimmy. Monk and Miles were jamming with Jimmy and Jocko. Our minds melted into orbits earthlings never know. All right. This is a little embryonic, but I wanted to play it because it was born here a week ago, thanks to a poetic illusion given to us by Richard. And feel free to shout out the title of the song when it comes along at the end. I think you'll recognize it. The music of this is by a purple person in Minnesota. And the lyrics are 1/3 that purple person and 2/3 me. I was dreaming when I wrote this, forgive me if it goes astray. But when I woke up this morning, could have sworn it was Judgment Day. America on trial by a jury of Buffalo. Shouting genocide and rape, you know I didn't want to know. Say, nukes away, KKK, climate change, oops, party done. So tonight we're gonna party like it's 1491. I was dreaming when I wrote this, so sue me if it ain't too clear. But when I woke up this morning, could have sworn it was Judgment Year. Humanity on trial by a jury of dodo birds. Deforestation and dead oceans was all I really heard. Say, nuke away, KKK, climate change, oops, party done. So tonight we're gonna party like it's 1491. If you won't get naked, don't bother knocking on my door. I got a goddess in my pocket, and baby, she's ready to roar. Everybody's got a gun, we all could die any day. But before we let that happen, let's dance this night away. Say, nuke away, KKK, climate change, oops, party done. So tonight we're gonna party like it's 1491. 1491, don't you wanna go? 1491, don't you wanna go? 1491, don't you wanna go? 1491.
That's Rob. Then you close the Super Duper Bulldozer. And now, if you remembered when you signed in, there were numbers next to your name, and you'll notice there are numbers on these cards. I have been shuffling them like an insane person over here. And now I will give them to my co-pilot who will cut them. Whilst I introduce the gifts to you again. The Gift by Hafiz. If you don't have Hafiz and you've never read him, read this book. Wright, a program. It's a book by Charles Wright, interview by David St. John, or someone said this like that. Billy Collins, 9 Horses. Billy Collins, a very well-known writer in America and other places. Donovan, the famous Donovan, but children's. Poetry Years from 2012. That's, like I say, before the change. Look Homeward Angel, Thomas Wolfe. Women Who Love Too Much. When you keep wishing and hoping he'll change. This is Donald Trump's. Wide Awake at 3 a.m. Who isn't? Why Choice or Chance. This is a book about sleep problems and issues. And then Through the Flower, My Struggle as a Woman Artist by Judy Chicago, who doesn't live in Chicago. And then this, of course, is a beautiful book that can have writing materials in it, and it's very nicely built. Thank you very much. And now, it's also being the mini feature, which you saw Mr. Britt do, choosing the theme or prompt, which Tommy did, brought us garlic this time around. The keynote, which was Mr. Cursive Writer over there. The last word, which was Rob, and then the co-pilot, who sits here and says, "You goofed it up again. What's wrong with you? Tie your shoes. Did you take a bath? Where's your belt?" Anyway. Too much garlic. Too much garlic. Actually, there's a story about that. She's gonna. You already cut the card, didn't you? Okay, so I had the worst sore throat that I had ever experienced. I couldn't even sleep. I ordered a large pizza.
Pick the number.
Okay. Number 11. Number 11. See, it's fair.
It's you.
Anyway, it was a large cheese pizza with chili, cursive with chili, and 5 orders of garlic on the darn thing.
Yeah.
That still didn't work. It was viral. That didn't, never mind.